Welcome to the New Zonderlings podcast, where we explore the weird and bizarre. Here are your hosts, Noah and Jeanette.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for another episode of the New Zonderlings podcast. I'm Jeanette, and I'm joined by Noah.
Hello, everybody. This week's episode is brought to you by a fan. Shout out to Michael Fortner for giving us the idea. He used the link in the description of the episode to send us this story. So we're going to, after some thorough research, I'm going to be reading the story today.
All right. Yay. Day off for Jeanette.
Do you like vanilla?
Yes.
How about strawberry?
Okay.
Yes.
I am super scared by your eyes right now.
I often make crazy eyes. What if I told you that they might have beaver butt juice in them?
I would say, ew.
That's it? Just ew?
That's nasty. I ain't eating that.
Well, that's today's episode's theme. Beaver butt juice.
That's the theme? Okay.
That's the theme. That's our story. That was brought to
We'll
you
put that on a t-shirt.
by our fan, Michael Fortner.
Okay. Well, I mean, I've actually heard something along the lines of what I think you're going for here. The weird world of food flavorings.
Food flavorings are very interesting. As I said, I'm bringing the story today. So, shall I begin?
Go for it, Noah.
Decades ago, scientists did indeed extract compounds from a gland in a beaver's tush.
That's nasty.
And then they would use the potion to help create strawberry and raspberry flavorings or to enhance vanilla substitutes.
Nasty.
These days, that was decades ago. These days, the FDA, or Food and Drug Administration, regards the beaver extract as a safe natural flavoring. There is even a Swedish schnapps flavored with it called Bäverhojt.
A what now?
A schnapps. A Swedish schnapps. A Swedish schnapps called Beaverhojt. Bäverhojt. I don't speak Swedish. Do you want to try that word?
Let me see it. Oh, Bäverhojt.
Bäverhojt. It's schnapps.
So I think they're talking about the drink, right?
Yeah, schnapps.
Okay. I just want to make sure.
There is a Swedish drink, schnapps, called Bäverhojt, flavored with, I will get into it a little more precise, the scientific name of it, but it is extract from a beaver's butt glands. So, the chance of encountering eau de beaver, as it says in this article, or of the beaver, is that what that means? In foods today is actually slim to none. It's simply too expensive. So, as I mentioned earlier, this is decades ago. This is way before our time that they even did this, and it's a lot less common now than it was. In 2004, the food industry used only about 300 pounds of the beaver extract, according to the 5th edition of Fenaroli's Handbook of Flavor Ingredients, quote, an industry Bible of sorts, which is a mere drop in the bucket compared to the amount of vanilla extract and strawberry extract and all these different extracts that are used. It actually isn't very hard to make a basic strawberry flavor that you would recognize with just 2 compounds.
How do they get the juice from the beaver?
How do they get the juice from the beaver? Well, they kill the beavers.
Oh.
And then they extract it.
Oh, that makes me sad.
Mortem.
So you have to kill the beavers for this?
Yes, they were hunted for this, and I will get into that a little later as well. However, you may be asking yourself, why? Just
I am actually asking myself why.
A beaver's butt glands?
Why am I here?
Well, not that. We're not in existential crisis mode.
Why do we eat things out of a beaver butt?
Why are we eating this? It turns out the scent of beaver is not only pleasant, but downright wonderful. Wildlife
Wonderful.
ecologist Joanne Crawford told National Geographic in October.
Joanne Crawford?
Joanne Crawford, what'd I say?
You said Joanne, but that's awful close to, Joan Crawford.
Joan
Go ahead.
Crawford. Joanne?
Famous actress. Never mind. Go ahead.
Oh, I see what you're saying now. Maybe she's both an ecologist.
She leads a double life.
Yeah.
I'm not sure she's still alive, though.
So at high concentrations, the mixture has an intense animal, musky, and leathery odor. But at low concentrations, the bouquet supposedly takes on more subtle nuances. Whoever wrote this clearly spends too much time in the perfume aisle.
Well, sometimes people do that for their jobs. That's their
true.
job.
That's true. I will give you that.
Yeah.
Those fruity fragrant compounds probably come from the beaver's diet of bark and leaves, Crawford told Nat Geo. And because the beaver secretions don't contain foul smell bacteria. Beaver food flavoring doesn't actually come from the animal's anal gland, but from another organ next to it, called the castor sac. And the technical term for the beaver extract is, do you want to take a guess?
Oh, God. I don't know. I'm afraid.
Castoreum.
Oh.
Coming from the word castor sac. So castoreum.
Okay.
Yes, not what you were expecting,
I would
was
not
it?
have guessed that. No. No, that would not be something I would guess.
So I looked up castoreum as a nutritional thing.
Nutritional thing.
So the Center for Science in the Public Interest rating for castoreum is safe. It is safe. It is not
That's what that
harmful.
whole article is for? Just to say that it's safe.
Honestly, that's kind of what it is.
Oh, okay.
In a way, it is disgusting. Obviously, too much of anything can kill you, but castoreum is safe. Beaver
in
butt
any
juice.
amounts?
According to this, yes. According to the Center for Science in the Public Interest. But we will get into it a little more. I will educate you.
Okay.
This substance is occasionally used as a natural flavoring. Only about 1,000 pounds of the product are used annually, so it really isn't a significant part of the food supply, nor should it pose any risk. The FDA considers it to be generally recognized as safe. Boy, I'm sure that makes you feel good. Generally recognized as safe. Generally speaking, it's recognized as safe.
I think that's as close as you'll ever get with our Food and Drug Administration.
Unfortunately, I agree. Beavers mix castoreum with urine to mark their territories and make their fur and tail more water resistant.
Cool, I guess. I'm glad we don't do that.
You don't want to... I won't say anymore.
Yeah, where are you going to go there? That's... I think everybody's getting a nice mental picture.
Let's not. I found another article, a history of flavoring food with beaver butt juice. So
is that the name of the article, really?
That is the name of the article. A lot of these articles were aptly named. A lot of these are people disproving the fact that it's actually coming from an anal gland. It's not. It's coming from something next to an anal gland.
I mean, does it really matter all that much? I mean, you're down there, there's a hole, there's glands in the hole. Like, does it matter in what order they're in, or?
Well,
it's still an animal's butt.
I look at it this way. We eat caviar.
I don't eat caviar.
Well, I know we don't eat caviar, but as a human species, we eat caviar. We eat moose liver, goose liver, testicles of a bull.
I mean, yeah, I know there are people out there that eat that, but it's not me. So I'm hoping that you have a list of foods that I'll be
avoiding.
Extremely disappointed in hearing about.
Oh, yes. I saved that for the end.
Okay.
Just so I can ruin your diet.
Oh, no.
And pretty much anyone else who's listening. It's not pleasant.
Well, hopefully it's in everything sweet, so I quit eating it.
Oh, no, it is not in everything just sweet.
Okay.
Like I said, this this article is a history of flavoring food with beaver butt juice. The gentleman who wrote it starts by talking about this critic, Vanny Harry, the health and wellness blogger known as the Food Babe.
The Food Babe.
The Food Babe. Have you heard of the Food Babe?
I haven't, but it sounds
Interesting.
like something I would want to listen to.
I've never heard of the Food Babe. We might have to start listening. However, she has a YouTube video on her channel where she sits on a log chatting up a stuffed beaver doll.
Oh,
So she's talking to it about how the beaver's butt is flavoring all these different things, but that's not true anymore. Really, flavoring is
artificial.
It's all artificial. It's cheaper
Yeah.
to make it artificially. It's easier to make it artificially. You're not murdering beavers for this.
I'd say that's a pretty big win for the beavers.
So like I said, a lot of these articles I found were people kind of just blowing up the fact that we used castoreum in flavoring. And then the article writer being like, no, that's not what happened. We used it for a short time. We don't really do that anymore. However, a few parts out of his article I noted. Something that you said.
Something that I said?
I get how the anal adjacency of these glandular secretions make castoreum repulsive to many people. But if it was being used in flavorings, I knew there was only one reason for it. It must be delicious.
Okay, this is a wordsmith. Bravo. Who wrote this? He said it so much more eloquently than I ever could have.
I think I accidentally cut his name off.
Oh.
Yeah, I know.
Well, we gotta give
him credit.
You gotta give the credit in the right places, Noah.
So we took a cut to do some research on the author of this article, but we couldn't find his name. This was written for The Vice. It's titled A History of Flavoring Food with Beaver Butt Juice. He's very good with words.
Eau de Beaver.
Eau de Beaver. According to nature writer Ben Goldfarb, author of Eager, The Surprising Secret Life of Beavers and Why They Matter, the demand for castoreum wiped out most of the beavers in Europe by the end of the Middle Ages.
My God.
I know, that's a lot of beavers that are dead now. When Europeans settled North America, with its abundant supply of beavers, they had another use for the animal: beaver fur hats. Living beavers, a keystone species, helped build the American landscape. So,
yeah, beaver pelts used to be a big thing.
Huge thing. Beaver skin caps.
In the Victorian age.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a little past that, but not much. I think it's pretty much been... they probably still do it, but
I'm sure they do.
It's not like a big fashion thing, though.
Right.
Anymore.
Are you familiar with the name Astors? The Astors.
Of course. John Jacob Astor.
They made their original fortune in
His
beavers.
name is my name, too. No, wait, that's Jingleheimer
Yeah, that's
Schmidt.
Jingleheimer Schmidt.
Okay. What'd you say?
The Astors made their original fortune in beavers before getting into Manhattan real estate. So the Astors are like...
wasn't he on the Titanic?
Yes, he was.
Okay.
John Astor. Was
his mistress?
Yeah, well, I thought it was his wife, but that's a different podcast.
Maybe his young wife. I don't remember now.
I'm not sure either.
I did watch the movie.
However, they're all rich and powerful people of New York.
Sure.
And the Astors originally made it in beavers. So the export of beavers.
They got rich off beaver.
Yeah. Could you imagine?
I wonder how much this episode is going to be used as a meme now. Because we're saying beaver a lot.
Beaver, 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 beaver.
Beaver be making that money.
Oh my gosh. The American beaver trade brought castoreum back into the spotlight, this time as a perfume. The perfumer historian Mandy Aftel described it to me as kind of sexy, kind of dark, the scent of Russian leather. It's what's known as a base note. It's deep under things, one of the last lingering notes you smell. Apparently, it smells fantastic.
I'll take their word for it.
You don't want to smell?
My beavers are so cute.
I do have a picture of a beaver. Look at it. Little beaver.
Is he drinking?
He's drinking. He's drinking from the lake.
I mean, all I think about is the beaver from Winnie the Pooh that had the really bad lisp. And he'd whistle every time he said
What did he
anything.
sound like?
I can't do it. Can you do it?
No, I can't.
That was awesome. Come up with this little lunchbox. Or was that a groundhog? Oh my God.
I think it might have been a groundhog.
He was always digging out of a hole. Surely that was a groundhog, not a beaver.
I think it was a groundhog.
Fact check time. This is why we need a fact checker.
We do need a fact checker.
So somebody can be like, no, dummy. That's not what it was. He was a gopher.
Okay. So
I was
not a
wrong
groundhog, not a beaver.
Both times.
But he looks like, both.
He's got big front teeth like a beaver, okay? And
So
he like uses his tail to like stamp down
stomp
dirt.
the ground.
I don't know. He looks.
Do gophers do that?
I guess I don't know anything about gophers.
Huh.
I am totally stupid with the gopher.
You're stupid with gophers?
I'm dumb.
So, misconception. Castoreum was never fake vanilla or fake strawberry. Not
Oh my
exactly.
gosh. I hate to break in again.
What?
Breaking news. There is a beaver in Winnie the Pooh.
Is there really?
He is relatively new, influenced by the first season of My Friends Tigger and Pooh. Beaver is often compared to Gopher from the New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh.
Wow.
So there is a beaver.
Interesting.
It's not the one I was thinking of
No.
at all, but I feel a little bit vindicated. I'm not a complete idiot. Sorry, go ahead. I interrupted
No, it's
you.
fine. Did you know there's a big misconception with castoreum?
No, I didn't know that.
You don't know anything about castoreum before I've read this to you. It is not fake vanilla or fake strawberry. It never was. Not exactly.
Mm.
It was used usually less than 10 parts per million in each flavoring, adding depth, intricacy, and intrigue to flavor compositions. It was a quintessential secret ingredient, but it was never truly a substitute for vanilla, strawberry, raspberry. It was used to enhance these flavors, much like the perfumes were. It was a dark undertone, right? It was base. No, it was a flavor enhancer. You're looking at me like I'm crazy because I'm going into rant mode.
You are very intense about this. Well, you know what they say. Secrets in the sauce.
Did they say that? Who says that?
I don't know.
You just made that up?
No, it was from fried green tomatoes.
Oh, is it?
I didn't make it up.
Fun fact.
Oh.
Castoreum. People take it for anxiety,
Really?
restless sleep,
In a pill form?
and
Or
as a calming agent. No, they squeeze the beaver like
right over their face?
they hold it above their. I'm doing the motion. They hold it above their head and they just kind of like squeeze it a little.
Thanks for the mental
Yeah, it was
picture.
in your
Just-
face. Women take it to start their menstrual periods or treat painful periods.
What? Why would you want to start it?
I guess if you are worried about a pregnancy,
Oh.
castoreum seems to have calming and soothing effects. However, there is insufficient evidence to rate effectiveness for menstrual problems, anxiety, sleeping disorders, or other conditions. More research and evidence is needed.
I mean, I guess that's good to know, but the beavers still have to die for this, correct? So,
Right.
yeah.
At least everything that I've read is they kill the beavers for this. So there may be a humane way to harvest it, but I couldn't really find anything like that.
I don't know if there's any way that a beaver would be okay with someone going into their butt and squeezing their glands.
Their rectum.
Yeah.
Side effects. Castoreum is safe in usual food amounts and seems to be safe for most people when applied directly to the skin. There isn't enough information to know whether it is safe to take castoreum by mouth in medicinal amounts.
Okay. So you rub it on your skin.
So rub it on your skin.
That is nasty.
You just take that beaver, perk its tail up, and just start rubbing it all over yourself.
Now, Fortner, I have to wonder if this was on purpose. He picked the most embarrassing topic that I can talk to you about.
Beaver butts.
Just a lot of beaver.
Just a lot of
A
beaver.
lot of beaver talk.
A lot of beaver talk. Hate to be a buzzkill,
Oh, God.
but your candy contains beaver buttholes.
Beaver buttholes?
It's the name of this article.
Like the actual butthole?
No.
Uh,
Again,
Is it like a
another
donut-shaped
huge,
candy?
wow, too far. Another huge misconception. And as I said, a lot of these articles said the same thing. It comes from a beaver's butt, but not really. And
Okay.
it was a huge problem with researching this story. Was so much of it wasn't
Sensationalized headlines.
exactly.
Yeah, I get it.
However, there is some truth in this. Cadbury cream eggs contain an artificial sweetener called castoreum. Oh, we know that word, don't we? A derivative from the extractions of beaver anal glands that's often a natural flavoring for vanilla and raspberry.
I'm never eating one of those again.
Sadly, one of our favorite springtime sweets, the Reese's peanut butter egg, is also on the list, having castoreum in it.
But artificial castoreum, right?
Well, castoreum itself is called an artificial sweetener. So I don't know if that means that castoreum harvested from a beaver is an artificial sweetener or if they have created an artificial castoreum. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but there are other foods not affected by beaver butt glands or castoreum, but by other things in foods.
Okay, I think I'm ready to hear it.
I fell down the rabbit hole, per se.
Did you?
The beaver hole, if you
Oh,
if you will.
my God.
The preservative TBHQ, or, and bear with me, tertiary butyl hydroquinone, is a derivative of petroleum that's found in cosmetics, wood varnish, and this candy. The FDA approved the drug at less than 0.02% of a food's fat content because higher doses can be toxic.
Oh,
In fact, 5 grams of the stuff, that is TBHQ, can be deadly, and 1 gram can cause reactions like nausea, vomiting, and ringing in the ears.
is that all?
Then there are things that would thoroughly freak out vegans, like the gelatin that's made from collagen in the skin and hooves and nails of horses and pigs in Peeps.
Oh, well, it's in Jello too.
Correct.
Or at least it used to be. Yeah.
Or the shellac, which I'm not sure what that word means, or confectioner's glaze made from secretions of female lac bugs that coats jelly beans.
Oh my God.
Isn't that horrifying?
I don't like jelly beans anyway, so I'm good with not eating anymore.
So I'm going to leave you with a quick little rundown.
Well, I think I got, isn't there like a red dye
That comes from,
that they use like a little bug for?
I'm sure there is.
Like some kind of insect that they just grind up, and that's like the natural
That's
red dye.
red number 50 or something.
Not, I think the one that's dangerous is red 40, right?
Red 40, yes.
I do not believe that this is the same thing.
Who knows?
Because red 40 is an artificial coloring, and I think this is a natural, would be considered a natural coloring, right?
Right. Not vegan, though.
Yep, the vegans wouldn't eat that.
It is economically impractical to grow, harvest, or process raw products that are totally free of non-hazardous, naturally occurring, unavoidable defects, says the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. So while there's no way to get rid of all the creatures that might hitch a ride along the food processing chain, the FDA has established standards to keep food defects to a minimum. Are you prepared for this menu I have for you?
No,
I guarantee you're not.
I'm in no way ready.
So you don't drink coffee.
No.
I don't drink coffee. And good thing, because coffee beans you grind for breakfast are allowed by the FDA to have an average of 10 milligrams or more of animal poop per pound.
Ew.
As much as 4% to 6% of beans by count are also allowed to be insect infested or moldy.
I feel like that's nasty, but I feel like those standards apply to a lot of different foods. Like,
Oh, we'll get into that.
do you know how much pus is allowed in your milk? Do you know how much is acceptable to me?
0?
0 is acceptable to me. But there is
there is a standard.
a limit that they allow
Mhm.
so many pus molecules per liter or whatever, and it's nasty.
Do you use pepper?
Oh God,
I must take
what's
that as a
wrong with
yes.
pepper?
Try not to think about the fact that you may be eating more than 40 insect fragments with every teaspoon,
Oh, I'm okay with eating insects.
along with a smidgen of rodent hair.
Okay, I'm done.
I
now.
lost you, didn't I?
Oh God, throw rodents in there. Why don't you?
Let's say you packed peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for everybody, for your kids, right?
Oh, I know there's something in peanut butter.
Peanut butter.
I've heard this before.
I've also heard this one before. Peanut butter is one of the most controlled foods in the FDA list. An average of 1 or more rodent hairs and 30 or so insect fragments are allowed for every 100 grams, which is 3.5 ounces. So if you take a peanut butter jar, I'm not sure how many ounces are in that, but it's actually very, very regulated. It's one of the better regulated foods on this list, which is scary to think about.
Well, peanuts are actually a legume, and I believe that you have to be very careful with legumes for mold and mildew and that kind of thing.
We'll get into mold and mildew in a second.
Will we?
Oh,
No,
yes,
let's-
Jeanette.
I don't know if I want to do that.
You don't want to do this episode
I don't know
anymore?
if I want to do this anymore.
It's very disgusting. We should put a disclaimer at the beginning of this episode.
This is nasty, people.
This is a disgusting episode. So, quick little side note. Guess what the FDA calls these insect and rodent food defects?
Icing on the cake.
No, they call it filth.
Oh, filth. Well, that's appropriate.
Isn't
but
it?
I thought they'd give it a fun name like Super Secret Surprise.
Super secret surprise rodent hair and animal parts.
Your food contains something extra. You want to guess what it is?
So back to our peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Mhm.
Jelly and jam are not as controlled as peanut butter. Hold on to your seat.
Oh, geez.
Apple butter, one of my favorite, apple butter, can contain an average of 4 or more rodent hairs for every 3.5 ounces. And
Why is it always rodent hairs?
about 5 whole insects.
It's an apple. Where's the worm?
5 whole insects.
There's supposed to be worms in there.
5 whole insects.
Well, insects don't bother me much. You know, they're
Protein.
protein.
I'm glad we agree. So I have a thing, another side note. I have a thing. I eat crickets. I'm a freak of nature.
Yeah, that's nasty.
They're sour cream and onion flavored. They taste good to me.
I can't get over their little sticky
Now,
legs.
I don't go to the store and buy this weekly. This is a once a year thing. I'll find a box and I'll be like, oh, I'm going to freak people out.
Are you one of those people that eat the scorpion lollipop?
I am deathly afraid of scorpions.
Okay, so no.
Do not say that name in front of me. Scorpions are the scariest thing on this planet.
The Rock was a scorpion.
The Rock is the scariest thing on this planet.
As
in
a
scorpion form.
He was really terrible.
Yes, he was.
Just the CGI was
Ugh.
so bad.
Back to the jellies and jams. There is an unknown number of teensy mites, aphids, and thrips.
What's a thrip?
I'm not really sure what a thrip is. Where's our fact checker? Fact check.
checker. Thrips are minute, slender insects with fringed wings and unique asymmetrical mouth parts.
They're basically mites.
They're really small.
They're-
Like that's on a leaf that has to be magnified.
Right.
So.
They're extremely small, just like mites and aphids. However,
So about the amount of insects you would get if you're outside trying to jog with your mouth open.
yeah, I'm sure they'd be about the same in your apple butter.
Gross.
Apple butter can also contain up to 12% mold, which is better than cherry jam, which can be 30% moldy,
What about strawberry jam?
or
Oh,
blackcurrant jam, which can be 75% moldy.
Never eaten that. But did they mention strawberry?
They do not.
Oh, okay, good.
You're lucky.
That's like the only one I'll eat. So
However, I'm sure there is a standard on that in particular.
I'm sure there is too.
And of course, you know the difference between jelly and jam, right?
Jelly doesn't have the whole fruit smushed in it and jammed.
That's correct.
Yeah.
So your jams are much more likely to have insect parts, rodent hair, and stuff like that because it's less filtered than
Mhm.
jelly. Do you have an after work drink? Do you come home and drink a martini? Maybe
No.
a Bloody Mary?
Nope.
Me neither. However,
Not a drinker.
the tomato juice in that 14-ounce Bloody Mary could contain up to 4 maggots and 20 or more fruit fly eggs.
Hmm.
And if you're having a fruity cocktail, just beware that the canned citrus juices that many bars use can legally have 5 or more fruit fly eggs or other fly eggs per cup.
Okay. I have nothing to say to that. I'm glad I don't drink.
Do you like spaghetti?
No, actually, I don't.
You're in luck, because there can be 450 insect parts and 9 rodent hairs in every 16-ounce box of spaghetti. That's a lot.
Like made into the spaghetti? Because I feel like you'd
I
see it
have
if it
no
wasn't.
idea.
If it was just floating around.
I'm
in the
sure this
box.
is all processed into the food, but you got to think that's a lot.
That's gross.
Canned tomatoes, tomato paste, and sauces like pizza sauce are a bit less contaminated than the tomato juice in your cocktail. The FDA only allows about 2 maggots in a 16-ounce can.
Only 2.
Only 2.
Well, I can't have that stuff because I have a problem with heartburn. But I'm glad now that I don't.
Asparagus can contain 40 or more scary-looking but teensy thrips for every 4th pound.
Well, you know what's really disgusting?
What?
Broccoli worms.
Ugh.
Is that on your list?
No.
I was eating with my dad one time at a restaurant.
You've told me this story.
And
Unnamed restaurant. Do not name it.
I'm not gonna name it. It's a very, very wide known chain though.
Yes.
And he got steamed broccoli and he took a bite in it and a big old worm fell out of it. And I
Yep.
mean a big worm. And his broccoli was just covered in them, but they were dead.
Yep.
So I'm like, did they die? I mean, you're supposed to soak broccoli for that reason.
Mhm.
All the worms come out of it. I think you do the same thing with like cabbage and lettuce.
Right.
You're supposed to soak it for a period of time. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. Frozen or canned spinach.
Oh, God. No,
I know
that's
you
what
eat
I do.
spinach.
Yes, I do.
Is allowed to have 50 aphids, thrips, and mites. If those are missing, the FDA allows larvae of spinach worms or 8 whole leaf minor bugs.
Okay.
So a lot of bugs in your fruits and
bugs.
vegetables.
In the canned spinach, anyway.
Right. But don't forget the spices.
They're cooked, right?
Crushed oregano can contain 300 or more insect bits and about 2 rodent hairs for every 10 grams.
Now, I believe that because you don't know what that is. You're looking at it and just the way it's ground up anyway. They dry it and then they grind it all up. You don't know what's in there.
It's a good point.
There could be anything in there.
There could literally be anything in oregano.
Yes.
So, what'd you think? It's lots of... Are you going to eat these same foods?
No, I don't. I think it's going to take some time for me to forget
It is.
what you just said.
It's a lot to take in.
Luckily for me, a lot of those things I don't eat anyway.
You are very self-conscious about what you put in your body. Unlike me, I will eat anything once. Yeah, I know. It's a terrible habit.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, whatever, You like to try things. Some people are like that.
So, what do you listeners think? Use the link in the description to send us a message.
Like what you heard? Like, subscribe, and share us with your friends. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Reddit, TikTok, and X. Thanks for listening.
You've been listening to the New Zonderlings podcast. Be sure to check out other episodes of this podcast when Noah and Jeanette will once again explore the weird and bizarre right here on the New Zonderlings podcast.